none. All right, here we go.
Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic that stands one nation, God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. First, I would like to say thank you to Geneva May for her service. This is her last meeting. I would like to thank you for all your contributions to the Board of Education. I certainly wish you well in your future endeavors, and we hope to see you come on back sometime. So thank you very much. Thank you.
It honestly was the best experience of, being able to come back and serve in the village, serve with, I'm sure, people that were sitting on the board when I graduated. It's just, it's a full circle experience. I hope for any of the other students here, absolutely come back, absolutely, sit on the board if you can, do whatever you can, volunteer. It's a really good feeling being able to, I was there not that long ago and I know what it feels like. And for as good as that felt, as much as I miss my high school career, this feels even better being able to come back. So I really, just encourage everyone to give back to your community if you can. And it was my honor.
And thank you. We enjoyed it. We wish you well. Next, we will accept the minutes, a motion for the minutes of the May 24th, 2022 meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Move on to public forum for this evening. Public forum? Nobody? Nobody? Okay. And we will move right into a presentation for the senior trip and call up Tammy Conacher and Elaine Pfeffer-Burns.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I know that you all, I believe, have this in front of you. And as a teacher at a PD, one of the worst things ever is when you're sitting there and it's being read to you and it's right in front of you. So that's not my plan tonight. And we'd like to just try to get through it quickly as we can, efficiently, but so that we can get the kids home, because I know my own son and I know the others are prepping for Regents tomorrow morning. So we want to get them home. The junior class this year was given a vote a few months back. 3 choices: Virginia Beach, Ocean City, Maryland, or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, / Jersey Shore. Ocean City, Maryland is the trip that won the vote. So in front of you, you have our 3-day itinerary, what would be planned for the trip. Looking at leaving Friday, June 2nd, and returning on the evening of Sunday, June 3rd. 4th, sorry, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Go ahead to the first day. So there is just a really quick overview. Leaving here 8 a.m. that day, arriving at the boardwalk. If you note, we have put in there that the lifeguards will be on duty while we're there, the times that they will be there, because the second day of the trip, we will be enjoying some time at the beach, and we'll ensure that there will be lifeguards on duty during that time. First day also includes dinner at a local restaurant, and after dinner that night, the armband for 2 hours of go-kart rides at Speed World, and departing for our hotel by 8:30 that night, arriving there at 9 for check-in. Second day is enjoying the beach and the boardwalk. We are also going to include, I believe in what you have in front of you, it indicates that it's optional. It would be an extra incurred cost of an 80-minute nature cruise, but Ms. Pfeffer and I have discussed it, and one of our plans for next year is to set aside one of our fundraisers specifically for raising money for that purpose, so that the kids do not incur that extra cost of the trip, and we can cover that for them and all enjoy that experience. That afternoon, freshening up and then departing to the pier for that night, and being there again. Dinner is included that night, and back at the hotel departing for the hotel by between 10 and 11. And on day 3, we're up early, 6:30, with teenagers, but they're going to manage it. I know they will. Leaving for Hershey Park by 10 a.m. that morning and spending the day at Hershey Park, giving the drivers time to rest while we're there. and departing that evening by 6:30 and arriving back at school approximately 10 o'clock Sunday night. In looking at the trip, meals, I think the last page of just the itinerary, just an overview. Hotel accommodations are included. Yeah, it's in there. Hotel accommodations are included, 2 continental breakfasts, 2 group dinners, and 1 meal voucher for while you are at Hershey Park. Again, that would be 1 meal that they have on their own, and what we would like to do, knowing what our funds are, what we have in there, using one of our fundraisers again for next year, specifically for raising money to cover that meal that would be on their own, so that we understand. The economy is difficult for all of our families. Gas prices will influence the price of the trip. That we can't really speak to this a year out, but it definitely could impact the cost. So we want to, are you good?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, the prices that they gave us are based on fueling and busing for this year. So, I think at the end it said it could be determined, things could change slightly, and, we'll get that as soon as we know for sure. We'll know the hotel, we'll know,
Right, that,
the actual price. Hopefully it goes down, the fuel costs.
so basically, like I said, our plan would be to run 2 fundraisers to cover the additional costs so that the kids are not having to incur any more of the cost than what's already there for transportation and the hotel stay. Okay, I know the price list is there in front of you. I don't really feel the need to write there. Trip insurance, do you want to speak to the trip insurance, or would you like me to? I'm okay. So, so Vanna, so the trip insurance, it would be, I think, what was the price? 20 to,
It would come down, if there were 50 students going, it would come down to $18.75 per student. I think if more go, it would come down even more. And
again,
we were planning on, we don't want them to have, any additional costs. So the one that's included, we are planning on doing a fundraiser. We have a few fundraisers.
we
planned for next year.
we have enough that we wouldn't need, we could cover that. We will cover the basic insurance package. If they want to go for the ultimate one, we would cover the initial fee, and then they could add the additional cost. But the basic plan really covers what they would need, if there was a sickness in the family, something, an emergency where they could not go, their money would be refunded for the trip.
The other one, the deluxe, is, I was reading through it quickly. There's a lot of information, a lot of words that I don't understand what they mean. But basically, if they had a sporting event or something came up, that they couldn't go, which wasn't an emergency, that would cover that. So, like Tammy said, the student protection plan, the basic one, I think, is.
For the time of year that we're going, that the trip is, we should be pretty safe as far as sporting events go. But the kids obviously would have the option of taking the more expensive plan, and we would cover what we were covering for everybody else, and they could add to it if they chose to.
Superintendent would like to add something about the insurance.
So I would just ask you to make sure with the different plans, people are very clear on what's an event that'll be covered by insurance. Because what we've had here in the past is we were all under the impression that if someone got ill, they would get their refund. But in the fine print of all of this, there are exclusions. So I think it's important for the company to be very clear and put it in layman's terms, and that you inquire with them about some examples. If this happens, because we had a student that was participating in states or something, and parents thought they were going to get their money back and they didn't, which is okay, but people should know they're purchasing the insurance, what those exclusions are. And the companies know, but you just have to ask them to put it in layman's terms.
No, absolutely.
And I've been corresponding via email with the
Yes.
insurance company, so I will
Yeah.
definitely ask them about that. And
I think you know how OCD both of us are. We'll make
We
sure
do-
that
I
both
do.
the
I do.
kids
Theo,
That, yeah, exactly.
We
The
can
letters are not in the
also-
right order.
We could,
But we'll make sure that both the kids and the parents understand
we
exactly.
could have the attorneys vet that also for you if you're interested.
Excellent. Okay, does anybody, yes.
So I know you're talking about like sporting events not being that weekend, and I'm assuming it would be up to the senior class or decides what the best time for prom is, but wouldn't it typically fall around kind of that weekend? The first weekend?
Actually, our prom is in May next year. Just so you know, we got Thursday prices for our Friday night. So
And then my second thing was if you could come up with a list of the fundraisers for next year, just so you know, like community can support, kind of know what's coming up.
We already,
Fundraisers, but
yeah, we already put together a calendar last month, I believe a few weeks ago. And all the advisors got together and we planned it all out, and that'll be, I'm fixing it up and making it pretty. And that should be out shortly.
should be posted on the district
But we
website, I
have
would think.
ours, we have ours. So if anybody would like to see the fundraisers, I can forward that for sure.
Anybody else have questions? John?
Ladies, just want to say we're really rooting for a senior trip, with COVID the last few years and then untoward things that come up. It seems like sometimes you get into senior year and the kids lose that enthusiasm for this. I wish you the best. And if you do a Krispy Kreme fundraiser, I'm all supportive of that.
Good to know.
I think I sent it out to the,
There you go.
Good to know. We're excited too to have it in place again for our kids.
and I think they're excited. Kids, this is the first they're really seeing all of this also. They just voted on it. And I just wanted to surprise
It looks like a
them.
great trip.
Lisa, did you add that on the agenda? What number is it?
Yes.
9.11.
Okay, could I ask the board do you have anything else for us?
I didn't know if Jody had a.
Did any-
No, I'm
No,
good.
Jody.
Somebody
Okay.
said- Thank you.
Okay.
While you're here, we'd like to give you an answer. So if I could ask the board someone to make a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Second,
Been moved and seconded to move 9.11 out of order and up in the agenda, and motion shall read, resolved that the senior class of 2023 be granted permission to travel to Ocean City, Maryland on June 2nd, 2023 through June 4th, 2023 for their senior trip.
second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Good luck. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. We'll give you the seat of the meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Right. City's beautiful. Yeah, you guys can go.
All right, moving on to reports, information, and correspondence. For myself, I have just one thing. There was a question of what we do for board member vacancy. The attorney sent us the following information. Generally, a vacancy may be filled in 3 separate ways. The board may appoint an individual. The board may conduct a special election within 90 days of the vacancy. Or if no special election is held, the BOCES district superintendent may appoint a competent person pursuant to Education Law 2113. The board may also choose not to appoint someone and leave the office vacant until the next election. But that course of action, while generally going unchallenged, could lead to demand for the position to be filled. If the board were to appoint a qualified individual to the vacancy, education law mandates that the appointee serve only until the day of the next annual election. This means a new vacancy will then exist as of the date of the next annual meeting in May of 2023. That vacancy would then be filled by the vote on May 23rd at its annual meeting. What is the board's pleasure on how they want to handle this going forward? Mr. Burns?
Well, I think a special election would be expensive for the district. I don't really want the BOCES superintendent to pick our board member, so I would offer that we pick our board member.
And how would you, do you have any idea how you would like to do that?
Well, I think we can ask if people are interested. and
Submit an application or resume.
a resume and then make a decision.
Okay. Anybody else? Iris?
We would include an opportunity to speak to them at a board meeting.
We've done that.
Go into what we've done in the past for vacancies on the board.
So I think for the last two vacancies on the board, we put an ad out and advertised for the vacancy. We asked people to submit a resume and a letter. We pulled everything out from the last two vacancies. And then we set up an evening, a special meeting with the board. The board interviewed the candidates, and then it's a personnel matter in accordance with, the guides we've gotten from the school boards and our attorneys. Then the board discusses an appointment to the board. So that's what we've done in the past.
I would like to suggest, if it pleases the board, that we go out and advertise for this position. We get whoever's ever interested, and we set up the special board meeting with the interviews for June 28th.
You need a motion?
I do need a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Lisa, you have a question? Well, let's get the motion and the second, then we'll do the discussion. We have the second, so we will go to discussion. Lisa?
Is that enough time to advertise and allow people to consider the June 28th?
It gives us 2 weeks, 2 solid weeks.
I'm just wondering if that gives the community enough time to react and for people to consider if they want to run and put a resume together. Can we maybe give folks a little bit more time?
Board, Iris?
I would be in favor of more time. There's no particular urgency to the matter. It's a busy time for everyone this time of year, like graduation parties, stuff like that. So I also would like to include this advertising in the Strongman Journal, since it is the most widely distributed paper available to our community.
Okay. Anybody else on the time constraints? Do we want to move the time, John?
I think June 28th, I mean, first off, let's not knock on anybody. We've got local board elections where there were 4 applicants for 7 positions. Some local districts didn't have people. If someone wants to apply for the short resume and you get it in, the 28th is more than enough time to do that. And I think it would be good going into the new school year to have somebody on the board and fill out the numbers. So that's how I would go, but
What is the first or second meeting in July?
First
We
meeting,
have the reorg. and
July
then-
there's the reorg, yes.
And then.
I think it's July 19th.
July
That's
19th.
the tentative date. They haven't been set yet.
Yeah, because I mean, you can poll us or whatever you want to do, but I think we need more time.
so I'm
It's
going to
not
poll,
particularly great rush and
poll the board on it. Geneva, how do you feel? More time than the 28th?
I would prefer the 28th, just so I could be, part of the decision. But
There you go.
I completely understand, I completely understand why we would move it back. That's just
Okay.
my opinion.
Lisa Ramirez?
I don't think 2 weeks is enough time for people to seriously consider the role and prepare an application, and for us to, even for advertising and the word to get out. So
Okay.
I don't think it's enough time.
Reverend Collins?
I agree, Lisa.
John?
I think it's very simple. We post it. You want to be on the board, get your application and resume in, and you're good to go. So I would go with the shorter one. Plus, I'd like to see Geneva vote on one more thing.
You give them my pen, right?
Jody?
I could go either way. The only concern I think we may need to give more time is the papers only come out once a week, so we already missed, Thursday's only really coming out one time before we're going to really have the meeting, so
Which way you going here? More time or
let's
less
give
time?
more time.
More time. I go with the 28th, so it's a split. Did I miss anybody? Iris, I'm sorry,
more time.
4-3. And that's all we have here this evening. So we have no,
We need
Consensus.
5 as a
No,
majority
we need
vote.
five.
2.
we have
Oh,
4-3.
yeah, there's no 5.
There's no fifth.
Okay. So
So-
looking at the calendar, can we look at a calendar?
Yeah, can we
and
look
get
at a
and
calendar, see if we can get a
this,
compromise here?
Today
It's
is the
June.
14th, so
I believe that second meeting
in
In
July the
July.
19th.
is It's fine. We'll get it out tomorrow. And by that second week, people have had
You're
time
going
to
to
do.
interview people and have someone by the 19th of July? Is that what you're saying?
Can we
Julius?
have their applications due though by the 5th? So at our reorg meeting, we can look at them and we can review them especially if we get an abundance
I'll
of
go
them.
along. I can agree with that.
Can we also post it on the website of the
Yeah,
district?
I'm
Lisa?
going to also post it on Facebook.
Thank you.
also. Positive thinking.
All right, so I guess we're extending the time and going with the July 5th deadline for applications.
Oh, I'm going to have that deadline be July 1st so we can assemble,
July
or
1st.
that week. That's fine. So that we can assemble them for the 5th. So you're ready to interview and you're going to interview on the 19th. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other board members? Oh, I just want to point out one thing. I was remiss. Last meeting for, I believe, for our student rep is today, because I think the next is your graduation, right? And you're out of here. So I just want to thank you, Julia. Been great having you, great having your input. You've done some fantastic reports. Got to tell you, they've been very informative. We really enjoyed having you here. So, but we definitely wish you well in your future plans and your college. And come on back when you're done.
I'm not
And we
going to
have
lie
a
to
board
you.
opening.
I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of forgot about tonight until 5th period. And I was thinking, I was in my room and I was like, oh my gosh. I walked out of here thinking, okay, I'm not coming back to rehearsal. And then I was like, crap, I have to come back tonight. Yeah, but it was really an honor sitting at the table with you guys. And thank you for giving me the opportunity too.
We enjoyed it, and I want to wish you the best. Keep that golf game up. Expect to see you on the
Thank you.
circuit someday.
Yeah, and I would just like to point out also through the student council election for the new president, we actually have Jack over there. Jack is going to be our new president, so he'll be taking my spot next year at the table.
Wow. All right, Jack,
Great,
congratulations. I told you you're going to be a congressman someday, or a president even.
Julia, good luck with everything.
And yeah,
Thank
good luck.
you.
Any plans? What are your plans for the future?
I am going to Binghamton University this coming fall, and I'm majoring in linguistics and possibly minoring in childhood education / development.
So I always go up to Ithaca because there's a place up there, so I'm going to be driving right by. I go to that, in Binghamton, I go to that Starbucks, so I'll wave to you. But good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board members for this evening? Okay, if not, we will move on to our student rep. Showtime.
Okay, so this is our last report. So sad. So yesterday, June 13th, we had our sports banquet, which was a huge success and students honored. It was not that hot, thank goodness. June 14th, today, the Environmental Club took a trip to the Minnewaska State Park. And then June 17th, we'll have our senior prom, which will take place at West Hills Country Club in Walk Hill. June 23rd will be the senior graduation rehearsal. The time is to be determined. June 24th, the senior class will take an elementary walkthrough. And then the 24th, we'll have graduation at 6 p.m. The junior, senior high school student council hosted spirit days all year. The third marking period winners were announced each semester. And also, we ran a full spirit week, June 6th through the 10th, and the kids had a blast from Adam Sandler Day to a Hawaiian luau. We had lots of participation. The grade with the most spirit points was grade 11, and student council voted to give that class $100 to be deposited into their class account, along with hoping next year that they can have their wish of a 7th through 10th field day at the close of the school year. Mr. Luke Wazowski's class received first place for the video on teen dating violence. The Commissioner of Ulster County Social Services presented this award to them. For our senior scholarship award ceremony that was held, 81 scholarships were given out to students. June 8th, 7th and 8th grade band went on a trip to High Note Music Festival and Dorney Park, and it was a success. The band received the highest ranking of superior and earned a trophy and is displayed in the junior high main office. And June 9th, senior class went to Hershey Park for their senior day trip. For the boys tennis team had singles player and doubles team represent our school in the Mahal tournament. Unfortunately, we lost the tough matches in the second round, but they hope to return to the tournament next year with some more representation and qualify for the Section 9 tournament. For the boys and girls track, let's hear for Ellenville High School junior Amelia Benjamin, who had an excellent showing at the New York State Public High School Athletics Association Track and Field Championships in Syracuse this past weekend. Amelia finished second in the Division II high jump with her 5'5" jump, earned her 5th place in New York State Federation, which includes all schools in New York State, including all New York City schools and private schools as well. She earned 6th place finish in the 200-meter dash as well in the entire state for Division II, which is a huge accomplishment. Congrats, Amelia. And then to close out, all fundraising has been completed for this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your last report was a great report as usual, so. All right, we will move on to Superintendent Lisa Wiles.
So just to dovetail on what Julia shared about graduation, graduation is Friday, the 24th at 6 p.m. The board will be meeting with the staff at 5:30. We'll be sure that we contact you to get your gowns ahead of time for that. And we'll be meeting, and Mrs. Doria will call you to remind you. But we'll be meeting in the junior high library like we always do to line up for the ceremony. We also have 6th grade moving up day on this coming Friday at 9:30 a.m. You're all welcome to attend in the senior high auditorium. Today, I had the opportunity to visit the P-TECH classrooms, and they were doing their final presentations, a look back individually of what of accomplishments in the program and their glows and grows. And I can't tell you how impressed we were to see the growth that the students had in the P-TECH program. And they actually have Google Slides of their project-based learning challenges and the presentations and some of the reviews of the field trips that they took that are related to the curriculum. So I asked on my way out if there was any way for them to compile a summary of all of those PowerPoint presentations so you could take a look at those things. And maybe in the fall, we can have some of those students come and present to you also, what their growth has been. They're looking forward to mentoring the 9th grade students coming into the program. And I think we're really lucky to have that program and just a lot of great growth on, with a group of students in there. So I know Mr. Donahue is well into the interviews and the application process for the Chapter 2 P-TECH, and we'll have more to come on that. But it was great to see that today.
Iris?
I just wanted to know if Mr. Donahue, once he gets his class together for next year, if he can come and talk to us about it.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
a great program, everything I've seen.
We hope we
Just
can
a
make that
wonderful
happen.
Support for students, so I'd like him to talk to us about it. Thanks.
Julia?
I just have a quick question. I can't remember if you mentioned it or not. When will we be getting our gowns? Will we get it on the rehearsal day or the actual graduation? I've just had a lot of kids come up to me and ask because they are unsure also.
So I don't have that information that comes out of the high school office. So I suggest you see Mrs. Lamondola or Mr. Pabone tomorrow. I think they come. I don't think they come the day of your rehearsal, Mrs. White. I don't know what your experience is. Usually a day or two before that.
Yeah, it's usually before.
Before, yeah. And I think you can get your caps very soon to decorate. I heard Mr.
Yeah,
Pabone say something.
we got them today to graduate.
Yeah. So check with Mrs.
Decorate.
Lamondola. I think she's the best person to ask when they'll be releasing those.
Okay, thank you.
No? Okay. We will move on to Assistant Superintendent for Business, Mr. Napoli.
Thank you. Last week, I attended a conference, mostly of school business officials, and there was quite a few presentations from New York State Education Department. And one of them specifically was on funding and use of the ESSER and ARP funds that the school districts received. And all of our numbers are up on our website, as well as our plans for spending the money. But one of the questions that I presented to our representative who helps Ellenville with the applications is, can we use our ARPA ESSER funds for our roofing capital project? And the answer that I got was yes. So what that means is that the white roof that we didn't do because it was very expensive and we moved over to another part of the project, I'll be able to use the funds from the ARP and ESSER funds, which in essence, what that means is that the local taxpayers won't have to foot the bill for that part of the capital project, which is great. And in addition, I don't know if it was this week or at the end of last week, we got word that the person up at State Ed approved our capital project, so we'll be able to start moving forward with everything that goes along with that. So we're able to, so what I'm saying is the project was approved and we're able to use some of the ARPA ESSER funds to do things like that.
Which is important because we're concerned about the bidding climate right now. The costs are higher. So we'll see where we're going, but we do have funds to offset that.
Right. And so, and as I send up amendments, I post them up on the district's website so that the community is aware. And there's also an email address. If anyone has any questions, they're certainly welcome to provide input or questions regarding the use of those funds. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burns.
Yes, 2 questions for Vince, if I could. Could you refresh everybody's memory on what ARP and ESSER is?
So ARP is the American Rescue Plan, and ESSER is Every Student Succeeds in Education. And I'm going to get this wrong, so let me look that up. Oh, I was totally wrong. Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Release Fund.
Okay, so I know that we've been on the roof for many years now. Did we consider anything else to use the money for besides the roof? And do you think that we will be closing out the roof phase of our construction?
Yes, we will be closing it out. We'll go out to bid soon for everything. The roof is going to be done sooner than later, probably next summer, if we can start sooner, but that's a complete tear off of that roof. There's no way that we can go out to bid and get the supplies here in time to do it this summer. It's just too late in the game. We were hoping to break ground for our new cafeteria this month, but with a delay at State Ed, that's not going to happen until later on. So we'll be able to at least get the footprint down. So that's the concrete and the footing. So we'll be able to start that probably in the fall. We will not be turning over the cafeteria as planned during the winter break to food service. Most likely it's going to happen over the summer. Other ways that we were using the ARP and ESSER funds were for mental health salaries for our social workers and our behavior analysts, PPE supplies, anything that has to do with the return of students to school. We were able to pay for tutoring for students that were out on isolation or quarantine due to COVID. That's just to name a few.
And we'll continue to use those funds to tutor to make up the differences. So we're putting a plan together. And we have a plan that's up on the website,
Correct.
but there's other things we can do it. And with regard to using it for the construction, a lot of schools are doing it because it's a huge sum of money. And in the bidding climate now, the authorization that we have and what the bids are coming back at, they're coming back higher. So schools are having to scale back the work that's been approved because it falls outside the limit. So we're looking at all of that.
I get that. It's just frustrating that we get these votes passed
Yeah.
to add construction and improve the facilities, and to no surprise, State Ed takes forever, and you're doing this 5 years after
Yeah,
the
it's
vote.
very
It's a-
disappointing.
Oh, one other question about the roof. Vince, this has nothing to do with the part where I asked last year or the year before that we got the top of the line. This is a separate part of the roof, right? That part that I asked about last year, we got the white top and we went with the heaviest thickness thing and all of that. That's good.
That's correct. So that was
Okay.
all the roofing work that we just did recently.
Okay.
So this is the last remaining old roof on our buildings.
Elementary school.
Right, this is the elementary school. This is the second floor roof over the, if you look at the elementary school from the parking lot, the roof that's all the way to the right, like from the center of the building to the right, that's the
Okay.
last section to be done of all of the old roofs.
Thank you.
And
You're
John,
welcome.
they phased that so that when the new cafeteria went up, they would do that roof and then the old section of the elementary at the same time. So you get some economies of
I just
scale
want to
there.
be done with the roof because we
Me
don't
too.
teach kids up there.
That's right.
Okay, nothing else? Commissioner Napoli is done. We'll move on to Deputy Superintendent Kelly White.
Good evening. Julie, I have an update from Miss Allen. She had messaged me. She said the gowns can be picked up rehearsal day with your tickets for graduation. So I just want to take a moment to recognize our TSTT program and Annalise Oni. So our TSTT is today's teacher, or today's students, tomorrow's teachers. And on May 26th, the district was recognized by the organization for our 21-year partnership with them. And Annalise Onis, who is a Spanish teacher here at the junior senior high school, was recognized as a teacher mentor for serving 10 years in that program. So that was, we received a plaque. She received a recognition. I think it's an apple, but we're going to put that plaque on display with some of the professional photos that were taken at that event. So we'll get that up once we receive all the materials back. Additionally, Julia had mentioned the recognition that Mr. Lukaczewski's students had received. I just wanted to give them a personal shout out. So in the video category, it was Dasan Makum and Radamus Marino. They had taken first place in the teen dating violence video. And then there was also the mixed media category, and award recipients for that were Dasan Makum, Radamus Marino, and Yadiel Rivera. So that was a nice recognition ceremony for the students. There is also resolutions tonight to approve summer professional development. We have a great series of offerings available to staff this summer. We're excited to get that information out to staff and to bring some new presenters in with some fresh professional development. So looking forward to that throughout the months of July and August.
That's all in person, right?
Most of the workshops are in person. A couple of the technology programs that we subscribe to, they're not local companies. They're based out west, and they provide the PD virtually, but the teachers will be invited to come into the building and do
They'll
that.
have to be here. They will, our staff will not be doing it remote.
They'll be in the building, but some presenters for online programs will be presenting
The
remotely.
presenters, but not the staff.
Correct.
Correct. All right, anything else?
No, that is it.
Okay, we'll move on to personnel resolutions for this evening. Upon a recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Destiny Nieves request for an unpaid leave of absence for child rearing be granted effective June 9,
So moved.
2022. It's been moved. Seconded, discussion. All those in discussion? Lisa?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.2, upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that Rashawn Nettles be appointed as a substitute security attendant at a rate of $15 per hour work for the 21-22 school year.
Second.
Second, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Motion carries. 6.3, be resolved, the superintendent of schools is authorized to approve up to 20 hours of summer curriculum writing completed between July 1st, 2022 and August 31st, 2022 for selected members of the ETS RPA teachers unit at a rate of $41 per hour worked. Move second to discussion. Jody?
How are these members selected? Who selects them? Do we select, the administrator select them, or is it done by?
For curriculum writing, there's a
Yes.
proposal form that gets filled out, and it's reviewed by the building principal and I to determine the suitability of that project. Like, for example, we have next generation learning standards being phased into the older grade levels now, so they've been in place K-6, but there's some curriculum work that needs to be done now at the 7-12 level related to that. And then there's some teachers teaching new courses, and when they do their new course proposals, the form includes a request for time to develop curriculum for those courses. So those are the types of scenarios in general that,
You oversee who gets selected.
yeah, and they're, collect their work, make sure that it's aligned with the proposal that was submitted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one, motion carries. Be resolved, Superintendent of Schools is authorized to approve up to 15 hours of summer professional development taken between July 1st, 2022, August 31st, 2022, for 10-month members of the ETS, RPA, SRP unit at an hourly rate.
Yeah.
Moved, seconded, discussion? What?
You skipped 6.4.
I did 2 already.
Yeah, 6.3 we did, and we skipped 4 by
I
mistake.
spoke to curriculum writing.
So let's move 6.4 and 6.5. Is that doable?
We can move 6.4 and 6.5. Somebody will make the motion.
So moved.
Discussion? Jody, to confuse me again, would you do that?
I'm good.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.6, upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved the following positions be created and approved. Cleaner, .5, Assistant Principals, 2, Caseworker, .8, Work-Based Learning Teacher, P-TECH. Second, discussion? Iris?
Assistant principals?
Yeah,
What are we looking for?
We discussed this. We were going to have one elementary principal, K through 6, and one principal in the 7-12. Additional support for the buildings.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Jessica Graham be appointed as a 1-to-1 registered
So
nurse.
moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that Teresa Shealy be approved to participate CSE, CPSE, testing and writing IEPs not to
So
exceed.
moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? 6.9, upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved the following teachers be approved to work on the Building Strategic Planning Committee from July 1st, 2022. Been moved?
Second.
Seconded. Discussion? John?
Kelly, in the past, have we had a certain number for this committee, or is it?
We actually had a few additional members last year, but just due to time commitments, a couple of people have backed out. But this is actually a smaller committee from last year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that Ronald Chason be appointed as Interim Director of Health, Physical Education, and Athletics at a rate of $600 per day work effective July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
No knock on Mr. Chasen, he's doing a great job, but we're hope to have somebody in place before the end of next school year.
We're hoping. We're in the process of interviewing right now, some candidates, and we'll keep you apprised of where we are.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that Dr. James V. Fogarty be appointed
So
as.
moved.
It's been moved. Seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Lisa Dwyer be appointed as a part-time psychologist effective July 1st.
So moved.
Been moved. Seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that Frank Mulhern be approved as
So
a.
moved.
It's been moved. Seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that Dr. Lori Cassell be approved as administrator.
So moved.
Been moved. Seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Tim Lukaseski be approved to work 20 hours per week, not to exceed 200 hours at a rate of $41 per hour.
So
worked.
moved.
Been moved. Seconded. Discussion? John?
And not to rehash here, but I remember a couple of years ago talking about moving that TV radio station. Is that all part of the still to be determined
Yes.
building project?
Yeah, it was just approved. State had approved it, but that's all part of the project.
is there a chance that could be done this summer?
No, because
Okay.
after state ed, just so you know, after the process of being approved by state ed, we still have to redo the phasing of the project, but more importantly, it has to go out for bid. So we're trying to expedite this, but there's no way to get the bids back, mobilize. We're at the end of June now, so there's going to be no work on that. But we're talking about how we can phase the work in over, the next couple of years from now. And we're trying to do it safely, but efficiently.
Any further discussion? Not all those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that Tracy Berry, Lynn Gallagher, Stephanie Baxter, Carl Boetti, Allison Chapin, Rowan Kuntz, Jennifer Schoonmaker be appointed as academic mentors for the Brighter Futures Initiative Program. Been moved, seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that Sarah Kraft, Tatiana Waitley, Jose Morales, John Paulson, Ulysses Young be appointed as community life mentors for the Brighter Future Initiative Program. It's been moved. Seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that the resignation of Charlotte Newman, cafeteria monitor, be accepted for the purposes of retirement effective June 14th. It's been moved. And that's with regret. And seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that the resignation of Jose Montanez, cleaner, be accepted for the purposes of retirement effective August 5th, 2022 with regret. Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved the resignation of Edward Pestone Jr., cleaner, be accepted for the purposes of retirement effective July 9th with regret. And it's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
He's actually old enough to retire already. It's an aside. I remember when he was much younger. Go ahead.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation, Superintendent of Schools be resolved that the memorandum of agreement between the Ellenville Central School District and the ETS RPA Teachers Unit be approved as attached. Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? One opposition. Okay. Upon recommendation, Superintendent of Schools be resolved that Cora Aragon be appointed as an uncertified substitute teacher at a rate of
So
100.
moved.
It's been
Second.
moved. Seconded.
Is her name Cora or Carol?
Cora.
Okay. The attachment says
Yeah, we'll fix that. It should be Cora.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation, Superintendent of Schools be resolved that Margot Merzarek, who holds a professional New York State certificate in the area of music, be appointed to a 4-year probationary position.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Fall coaches 22-23. Upon the recommendation, Superintendent of Schools be resolved following coaches be approved as indicated for the 20.
Move the list as
List has been
presented.
moved and seconded. Discussion. John.
Do we have all our positions filled for the fall of next year?
For coaches?
Yes.
We have the varsity coaches, and the modified football. We're waiting for the JV for July. Just making sure we have rosters that support number of students on the teams.
So we're going to hold off on the JVs till we get those numbers.
I'm hoping that I have it by either the 5th or the 19th. They've opened up. We're not allowed to open up the family portal that we have, but they're trying to get kids to commit to it.
As in a way to increase participation, have we gone out other ways besides the family portal? I
Yes,
remember a
we
couple of years ago, we had a problem with that.
Yes.
Thank you.
I know they've been making announcements in the buildings, and I think the coaches are reaching out to their athletes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Resolved, the Board of Education of the Ellenville Central School District authorizes the Superintendent of Schools to enter into a separation and release agreement dated 6/14/2022 with employee 1659.
Second?
Moved and seconded, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 7.1, student IEPs. Resolve the attached list of IEPs be acknowledged as appropriate. There are 86. List has been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Under construction, resolved that the architect payment for professional service for invoice 82733 and the amount of $7,500 be approved for Clark Patterson Lee.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Other resolutions for this evening? Under 9.1.
Motion to move 9-1 through 9-10.
Motion to move 9.1 through 9.10. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Mark your calendar. The next meeting will be July 5th, 2022. It'll be our reorganizational meeting. Anybody like to see anything for the next agenda on July 5th?
Is the timing the same?
They took the senior class
Same,
trip off?
same
Same
normal
time.
time?
Yep.
Thank you.
We have a regular
we did
board
that.
meeting after the reorg? Is
Yes.
that how this
Yep, we
works?
follow right into a regular board meeting. Any further questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor? Opposed? No one? We're adjourned.